So Michelle did not prepare before she came down here. She was not aware. She did not able to detect anything was happening. So therefore she couldn't deter, and she had absolutely no defense. So now we're going to show you what Michelle should have done before she came to prepare and what she should have been doing while she was here.
People take a few hours to pack, shop, and plan for vacation, but many do not check into their safety. Before going somewhere that you're not familiar with, take 15 to 30 minutes to research the area so you have an idea of your personal security, the threat, and how to greatly reduce your chances of becoming a victim. First thing you want to do is type in your search browser U.S. State Department in the country you're visiting. Here we see that there is a travel advisory listed, so we click on that. If we read the country summary, it says homicide, kidnapping, carjacking, and robbery is widespread and common. Here the State Department advises its citizens to not travel between cities after dark, do not hail taxis on the street, and avoid traveling alone. These are all things that you should do. Now we're going to scan down and look for the particular place where we're going to travel. In this case it's Quintana Roo, which contains Tulum and Cancun. We click on it, and now we see there is an increased caution warning for crime and kidnapping. They say travelers should maintain high level of situational awareness. Situational awareness simply means knowing what is going on around you at any given time. Here we're given a clear warning to have more awareness after dark and to remain in well-lit pedestrian zones and tourist zones. Now we go back out to the main page and keep scrolling down, and we see general security recommendations, which are good to follow. Keep traveling companions and family back home informed of travel plans. Arrange a time and a method of check-in. If taking a taxi or car service, take a photo of the taxi identification and text it to a friend. Exercise increased caution when taking part in the nightlife. Do not display signs of wealth such as wearing expensive watches, jewelry, or clothes. Be on high alert of situational awareness when visiting banks or ATMs. The U.S. State Department also has a program called STEP. It's called the Smart Travelers Enrollment Program. We'll do another video on it, but it basically keeps you connected to the U.S. Embassy or consulate in the country you're visiting in case of emergency. Prepare a contingency plan for emergency situations. There could be many emergency situations when traveling abroad, from natural disasters, missing passport, crimes, and medical emergencies. Know how to contact your embassy or consulate if one should arise. Gain situational awareness by being knowledgeable and prepared before going. Make sure you always carry a small first aid kit such as this, so you can self-treat when needed. Now we scroll down to safety and security. It is here that we get another brief synopsis of the security threat, and we also find out what is the emergency number to call. It happens to be 911, but realize that is not the emergency number in every country. As we keep reading, we see that Mexico has a high rate of crime and violence and is carried by both individuals and cartels. There are frequent demonstrations, and ensure you steer clear from them. Do not put yourself in the wrong place at the wrong time. Beware of the typical financial scams, and don't fall prey to those seeking help, or even worse, love. While she may look lovely from the front, the backside may say otherwise. If you find yourself a victim of a crime and crime has passed, then call the consulate. If the crime is active, call the emergency number as you usually would. Now we're going to check into local laws and crimes. Don't just assume that the laws are the same in the country you're visiting, they're in your own. Pleading ignorance may not help you. If you do get detained, ask the police to notify your local embassy or nearest consulate first. Note that in Mexico is required under international law to notify the U.S. Embassy or consulate. In Mexico, it is illegal for tourists to carry weapons of any kind, to include firearms, knives, brass knuckles, or even spent ammunition.
All right, so you guys just saw the video that tourists are not allowed to bring down weapons or anything that looks like weapons down to Mexico. So before going down there, I had Luke make me a selfie defense stick. So Luke is going to tell you how he made it and then demonstrate it.
So it's basically just a Schedule 80 piece of aluminum piping. Pretty much the thickest wall you can get, pretty substantial. And I just inserted some aluminum on the ends, threaded and tapped it to 1/4 That way it can hold your standard phone holder or any particular fitting off the tripod, and painted it black. And remember guys, anything can be used as a weapon. All we did was beef up our selfie stick. But the thing about a selfie stick is it's always directly in your hand, ready for deployment, and it's faster than drawing any weapon or going and picking up a rock. So if I'm walking around, I'm live on Instagram or whatever, somebody comes up to me, deployment is this fast. There you have it.
Knowing what is a crime can save you a lot of time. Here we see that e-cigs and vaping devices are not allowed to be brought into Mexico and can result in arrest. Know that Mexico is an active earthquake zone and that storm season is between May and November, so plan that you might get stuck down there. Also note that some beaches down there experience strong currents and riptides, so make sure you know the waters before you venture into them. Now we're going to click on the health section. There's a lot of information you want to look at here, but for this video we're going to just talk about pharmaceuticals, water, and sicknesses. We did a video on buying pharmaceuticals in Mexico, so check it out, as many are cut with fentanyl. The water in Mexico may not be safe, so make sure you bring a water filtration stall or water filtration bottle. Before going to another country, know what diseases are prevalent so you can keep your exposure to them more limited. See what Michelle did wrong here. She's walking by herself at night, she's paying attention to her phone, and has no situational awareness. She is dressed provocatively and has shoes that make it very difficult to run. Her purse is dangling towards the street off of her arm, which makes it very easy to take. She appears to have money, and most likely she carries it in her purse. She then turns down a dark cross street that is not very traveled. Michelle's not looking to be a victim, nor does she deserve it, but she is making herself a target and increases her chances of victimization. She learned to gain situational awareness by understanding her threats better. She's not on her phone or being distracted. She knows the threat is higher at night, so she went out during daylight. She stuck to the high traffic areas. She wasn't wearing expensive jewelry, watches, or clothes. Her shoes were comfortable and she's able to easily run in them. When she goes into the restaurant, she sits in the corner and away from the street. This way she can see everyone that walks in, and people from the street can't see her. Her purse is securely strapped to her back, so it just can't be ripped from her easily. She also keeps some money in there, but most is hidden on her body. Michelle is now constantly learning and becoming more aware of her surroundings and her own behaviors. She understands that by planning and preparing before going somewhere will keep her more safe. With the knowledge she gained, she will be able to better detect and deter potential threats. Nobody wants to be a victim, so make yourself a harder target. If you can properly detect and deter, you might not have to defend.
All right, guys, so down here in Tulum, we had a great time shooting these videos for you. But the most important thing about these videos is about your own personal and your family's personal protection. So before you go anywhere, make sure you just take those precautions, just like you would before you're packing, you research everything, research where you're going, know your threat of where you are, and make sure you are prepared, because the more you're prepared, the less you're going to have to respond. You don't want to get to the deterrence and the defense level. If you like this video and you know someone's travel, share it, and thank you for watching.
Hope these tips help you. Stay safe, plan to survive, refuse to die.